Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to you all for joining. Thanks for joining today's session on 30 minutes of product management. I'm Daniel Kostner, your speaker for tonight. I'll be we'll be delving deep into user experience design today for product managers. To introduce myself, I'm Daniel Kostner, a consultant at Lean Icon Technology with a focus on digital transformations. So here I support organizations on their digital transformation to improve people and processes. We improve people, processes, organizational structures so then they can adopt technology much, much better. And to do that would help organizations build capabilities in product management, enterprise agility, and software development. So I'm excited to be sharing with you my expertise in product management today. So if you can hear me, I'd like you to type into the chat, hi, hello, and let me know where you are reaching me from, where you are listening to me from today. I hope you can hear me. Am I loud and clear? Okay, thanks, Deborah. Deborah, it's listening to me from London. So since Deborah typed into the chat, I guess everyone can hear me loud and clear. Michael, there are people who will be joining in the waiting room. Kindly let them in so then I can focus on the presentation for today. As I said earlier, today's session is focused on user experience design for product managers. In our series on 30 minutes of product management, here we seek to share knowledge and experiences on practices that product managers would leverage on to become very good in their role. Um, Product management is a fast growing role in organizations due to the need for digital products, due to the need for organizations to build digital products to meet their customers' ever changing requests and preferences. The need for product managers is growing, and hence there are a lot of skills that we are identifying in this field that would help product managers be very good in their role. And one of such is user experience design. Today, I would, as much as possible, try to demystify user experience design, place it in the right context. So then we see how valuable this skill set is to everyone in the organization. If you have any questions whilst I present, kindly type in the chat. So I would ask this question, what does UX mean to you? What does user experience mean to you? So for many people, the first time you would hear user experience or US is when it's attached to the role UI. So you hear UI, UX, making it seem like UI is synonymous to UX, but there are two different skill sets required in product development or product management. The need for UX designers on the increase because of the need to build very customer-centric products that customers would keep coming back to. You'll bear with me, there are some apps on our phones that we barely open or look at because of very poor design and experiences. I would currently having I would say in the banking sector, where I've been involved in some transformations, you would realize that having a mobile app is no more a competitive advantage for a bank. Almost every bank now has a mobile application. What would differentiate one bank from the other is the experience that customers have on their mobile application. UX is a fast growing field, and we would see how some people view the role. So for some, user experience is how one interacts with a system. In other cases, others see user experience as a professional role within an organization or as an organizational unit. So you have the UX department, and that you could see in very large organizations building complex systems. To some people, UX design would be a mindset. And for some, it's an academic discipline where you would have to write an exam and get certified in. So we all have different perceptions of what UX is. And as I said earlier, some people would first hear of UX when they see it attached to the term UI, but it goes far beyond that. The ISO standards, that's the International Organization for Standardization, defines user experience as a person's perceptions, responses that results from the use or anticipated use of a product, system, or service. So UX is not limited to only digital products. Non-digital products also have user experience. And as we go through the presentation, you would see why I say user experience goes beyond just digital product. Whether you are providing a service, whether you are building a system, you are providing product, could be in the form of a hardware, it could be portal, it could be anything that the customer will interact with. There is an experience that the customer anticipates. So user experience cuts across various range of services that we provide to the customer. Also, once user experience begins before they get in touch with a product. So it states that there's what an anticipated use. So if someone sees a product which is clumsy or has too much clutter, it impacts their usage of the product. Hence, it will give them a poor user experience. If someone goes to the ATM to withdraw some money and the ATM screen is black, or due to the positioning of the ATM screen, there's so much sunlight on the screen that person cannot see properly to perform their transactions, they would say the person has a bad user experience. So the anticipated use of a product would also impact its user experience. Also, that anticipated use would create some perceptions. So one's perception of a product forms its user experience. Hence, you would realize that user experience goes beyond just the interface, the drawing of the product. It's a whole mood, it's a whole mind experience, it's a whole interaction that the customer would have with the product. Hence, to create the right user experience for our products, there's a need to consistently engage with the customer to know what their needs are, what their problems are, and come up with the right solution. Customers have so many problems and we can't solve them all. Hence, we need a structured approach to be able to decipher what exactly the customer needs are, hence, and focus on solving those exact problems for the customer. So from this definition, we realize that user experience is very broad. It cuts across various industries, cuts across various roles within the organization. So the ISO standards provides a cycle for user-centered design. So for us to be able to design or the best experience for our customers, we would go through a cycle, and it starts with first planning the work, where a team focused, or an organization or a team, a startup focused on delivering a product to market would have to plan before going through the process of identifying what the customer's needs are. The planning will come in various forms. It could it would include a market research to understand the entire market, the kind of customers within the market, the various segments of customers within the market, identifying the segment that has the largest population, the segment that has the largest population of people having the most needs. So we need to conduct that market research first to have a good understanding of the customer and the various segments. Then, based on that, we are able to focus on the desired customer, the group or segment. With them, we will now interact and understand the context in which they will be interacting with the product that we are going to build. So here's where the user research happens, where we would leverage techniques like interviews, customer interviews, focus groups, surveys, and all these techniques to engage the customer, gather the needed requirements, and use the UX techniques to decipher what exactly the customer's problem is. Based on that, we will now specify the requirements that we seek to build for the customer, go through a design process where we create various prototypes. So we create low fidelity, high fidelity prototypes, and then we evaluate with the customer again. So realize after planning, we start with the customer and we end with the customer. Customer feedback would help us in refining the specifications and then go through the design process. And so this is the user-centered design cycle, showing how design teams should focus extensively on the customer throughout the design process. With this cycle in mind, would realize that user experience design from the first definition and the cycle shows that user design is for everybody. It's a robust research methodology. It's applicable to various roles from product managers to project managers to business analysts to marketing managers to customer service managers. Everyone needs user experience design. So usually we would see UX going with UI. So that's what we are familiar with, UI UX designers. So it makes it seem like UX is limited to the UI designer. But for us to be able to build customer-centric products, for us to have an organization that is customer-centric, everyone needs to build a UX mindset. Know your customer, know their needs, and consistently go back to validate with the customer. What sometimes product managers will do is after the initial interaction with the customer to gather the needed information to come up with the requirements, they fail to go back to the customer to validate those designs. Sometimes product managers feel they know their customers so much and that the customer would like the products they are building. And time in, time out, we've seen that is not the case. We always have to go back to the customer. Other roles require product user experience skills because as all an organization exists to solve customer problems. And it's not only the UI designer who solve customer problems. The product manager, the business analyst, the marketing manager, all are going to solve the customer's problems. Business analyst will usually solve the customer's problem with a focus on internal stakeholders. So when you're a business analyst would map internal processes and help in the implementation of technology to improve the efficiency within organizations. And that's largely their focus. But what we've realized is improving the efficiency within the organization does not automatically translate into better user experience for our customers. So we have organizations that have deployed large-scale systems, ERPs, and still their customers are not satisfied because the focus was to improve operational efficiency, but it wasn't with a focus on the customer. Business analysts sometimes fall short of looking at the customer's perspective when improving operational efficiency. So UX design is for everybody. Since an organization exists to solve customer problems, everybody must have an understanding of what UX design is and partake in the process to solve customers' problems. In this webinar, we would be focusing on the role on user experience design for product managers. Product managers support in the build of digital products within organizations. They do this by consistently interacting with the customer, and they will require a set of tools and skills to be able to conduct the discovery. So continuously, we have to engage with the customer. We would do this throughout the life cycle of the product. And as we go through the product life cycle, from introduction to market to growth, at every stage, customers' needs will change. So when the Uber app was launched, the focus was to provide ride hailing services to customers. But as the app grew, through discovery, through user research, we realized that customers had other needs apart from just hailing rides. Customers were using the Uber app to transport products, to order food from restaurants. Hence, the product managers had to engage the customer again and come up with other models within the application, so then they could take advantage of those opportunities and solve the customer problems. So discovery is continuous for the product manager. Hence, will require a set of tools and skills to be able to engage with the customer. That's where user design comes in. Product managers are customer focused. Product managers conduct user research. So when we are bringing a new product to market, we would want to research on the customer's needs, and product managers would have to conduct extensive user research to validate their assumptions before rolling out the product. So perform user research, we solve customer problems, and we continuously explore the customer's needs. To be able to perform these functions, the product manager needs UX design, because UX is not for only the UI designer. Everybody must partake. Hence, the product manager must develop a good understanding of UX design. Before I go any further, just to recommend some courses at Lean Icon Technology to you. So don't sleep on your potential. Develop digital skills. Every profession now needs a digital skill. And at Lean Icon Technology, we pride ourselves in building individuals with the right mindset and the right skill set to support organizations on their digital transformation. So our next digital product management bootcamp commences on the 17th of August. And I'll encourage you to take advantage of that opportunity to build some skills in product management. Also visit our website, and there are other courses there that you could select from that suits your needs or are aligned to your goals. Great. Thanks for that. So I would continue with the presentation, looking at the various things that the product manager does and how user experience can support the product manager in this way. So UX design first will equip the product manager with tools and skills that would help them to empathize with the customer. The focus of the product manager is on the customer. We need tools that would help us to quickly understand and capture customer needs, and also explain those needs to the developers and the organization at large. So user experience design would give us tools like empathy maps. It will give us tools like the persona. So imagine you engage with 50 people in a user research, and you are trying to explain who tell the development team who the customers are. and you have to write an essay or produce a document for the designers to read, so then they know who their customers are. If you try writing it out in an essay form or in a document, you have so many pages and nobody will be interested in reading them. So things like the empathy maps help us capture the various sentiments of the user, what the user is thinking, what they feel, what they hear, what they see, and what they do. And this tool is from user experience design. Also, we have the persona, which captures a segment of our target market, and it's a fictional character, not a real one. And when our developers read this, they are able to quickly align and have empathy for the customer. They tend to have a better understanding of the customer when they do this. Also, customer journey maps from UX design, a great tool to help us in communicating customer pain points and when they feel them in their interaction with the service or product that we build for them. These artifacts would help us clearly define who the customer is and enable the product manager align the teams and the organization on who we are building for. If we don't have artifacts like this prepared down and consistently we share them with the development team, what would happen is at a point we easily forget that the who the customer is, and then start focusing internally to validate requirements, and this will not help us build those customer-centric products we want. Also, UX is a research methodology. So PM uses user research to define product design. So earlier I said we will first conduct our market research. Market research defines product strategy. It tells us which product we are going to build and who we are going to build for. The look and feel and the experience that the customer would have, the features that we will build into the system would come out of user research. So UX provides us that research methodology that we leverage on to build for the customer. So understanding customer needs at every interaction stage requires us to conduct these user researches. So you have structured methods like the design thinking. Sure, some of us have heard about design thinking. You also have the double diamond. So this is the aspect of design thinking where you have the empathy phase, the define, the ideate, prototype, and test. It's also aligned with the double diamond, which has one diamond understanding what the customer seeks. So it diverges and then converges, diverges again, and converges. And the other diamond is to ideate, come up with ideas, prototypes, and then validate it with the customer to come up with a solution that the customer will validate. These two are structured techniques that comes with there's research methodologies with stages, with tools and artifacts that enable product managers conduct their user researches. They also provide us with artifacts like affinity mapping, diary studies, split testing, card sorting, neuromarketing that will leverage on to conduct better researches. So in our research and understanding of the market to build our products, product managers would require user experience. Also, UX is for problem solving. So customer needs are more than we have budgeted for, and we can't solve them all. Customers would keep coming back with so many needs, and we need a structured way of solving those problems and identifying which problem is of importance. In problem solving, identifying the right problem is a critical step in the whole process. Sometimes when we tend to solve the wrong problem for the customer, we would end up building features that the customer will not use. So product managers must have UX design at their fingertips help them identify what the exact problem is, so then they can now build the right product features to solve those problems. I'm sure we have mobile apps, and there are some apps we don't even use. There are some apps that have features that we don't even need. And can you imagine what the cost of building one feature is? It's developers, a group of developers, depending on the complexity of the feature, sitting down, analyzing, and spending months to come up with a feature. Very expensive process. So if we don't identify the right problem, and then the developers spend months in building features, we are burning the organization's money. Hence, there's a need for us to understand user experience design. So then we are able to first understand the right problem, find and identify the right problem, and then build the right features for those problems. Hence, the need for UX design by product managers. UX is continuous and iterative. Design is not a phase in the build of products for customers. Hence, that's in waterfall approaches to project delivery, the focus is to have our requirements be all collected upfront. So for waterfall approach, design is a phase, and it comes with its challenges because we are assuming we know all what the customer wants. But what we have learned over time is design is continuous. We need to consistently engage with the customer throughout the life cycle of the product. And user experience design, which is an iterative process, provides the product manager with the skills and tools and techniques to consistently engage the customer whilst we build. So design is continuous, and delivery, whether in an agile approach, whether using Scrum, XP practices, Kanban boards, we would also have to be conducting our user experience concurrently with development. So then, as we come up with new ideas, we'll integrate them into the build. User experience design, which is iterative and continuous, provides the product manager with the right tool sets to be able to focus on the customer, gather insights from the customer and not the internal stakeholders. We need to focus on the customer. And we will consistently do this, gather requirements, refine our backlog, and integrate them into the team backlog. Hence the need for user experience design. So UX design is critical for product managers. If product managers should be able to focus on the customer and identify who our customer is, if product managers are able to conduct research extensively and correctly with the right tools and skills, if product managers will be able to solve the customer's problems consistently and continuously explore the customer needs, explore the market, like in the case of the Uber app. If Uber had stopped at just ride-hailing apps, then we would not have heard of Uber Eats, helicopter rides, Uber boat rides. If LinkedIn had stopped at a social platform, we wouldn't have salespeople selling to organizations through LinkedIn. We wouldn't have HR personnel recruiting through LinkedIn. Product build is continuous, and the need for UX design by product managers to support in building the right products for the customer to help the organization deliver on its strategic purpose. So, in a nutshell, this is user experience design for product managers. Very, very important skill set to have. The skills in there align with some design thinking practices that we'll use in the design sprint. They align with the double diamond also, all with a focus on the customer. So then we are able to build the right product for our customers. Thank you. I'll bring my presentation to an end here. Any questions from the team on user experience design for product managers? Any questions? So today's session was focused on product management, product managers, what they need to be able to meet the needs of their customer, those skills they need. But I would also want us, it's not, I'm sure there are some people here who are not product managers. I also want us to take this away, that for organizations to deliver on their promise to the customer, for organizations to be customer centric. So in most organizations, if you look at the values of the organization, you have things like customer centricity, customer first, customer is king, innovation. All these, for the organization to achieve these, they need user experience design. The CEO needs to understand and appreciate user experience design. The sales team needs to understand and appreciate user experience design. With that focus on the customer, then we are in the position to deliver on our organizational values. Thank you for joining in. Thank you, Deborah, for the feedback. Thank you. Thank you.